Some days language feels slightly reduced. It's not gone, just less available. Sentences take longer to form, thoughts don't connect as cleanly. Even simple decisions feel like they require more effort than they should. On those days, people often assume they should either push through or step away from everything entirely. But there is a middle space that does not get discussed as often, where you're still reading, still present, but not fully engaged in the way productivity culture likes to define engagement. Bibliotherapy in this context is not about fixing that state. It is about what remains possible inside it. There is a misconception that reading requires a certain kind of mental clarity, that you need focus, motivation, emotional availability. In reality, many people read most consistently when they have the least capacity for structured thought. They do not read because they feel ready. They read because it is one of the few activities that does not demand immediate output. You can stop mid-page. You can reread the same paragraph. You can forget what you just read and continue anyway. The book does not punish you for that. It just stays there. That stability matters more than it sounds like it should, especially on low days when internal experience can feel slightly unanchored. It's not dramatic, it's just less held together than usual. There is a particular kind of literature that becomes relevant here. Not necessarily heavy literature, not necessarily light literature either. Just writing that does not rush you. Writing that allows you to move at a reduced pace without treating that pace as a problem to solve. Some readers already know this instinctively. They return to familiar books when they are not doing well, not because they are trying to learn something new, but because familiarity reduces the cognitive load of engagement. You already know how it moves, you already know where it goes, so you do not have to do the work of orienting yourself while also managing internal heaviness. That combination is often what makes reading difficult during low periods. Not the reading itself, but the additional effort of navigation. Bibliotherapy, if it is doing anything useful here, is simply noticing that. Not as diagnosis, not as advice, just as structure. There's also something else that literature offers in these states that is harder to name. It is not comfort in the sentimental sense, it is continuity. A voice continuing across pages even when your own internal narration has slowed down. Not insisting that you respond, not requiring interpretation, just continuing. There's a subtle difference between being spoken to and being spoken at. Good literature tends to do neither. It simply exists in parallel. And that parallel presence can be enough to reduce a certain kind of internal isolation. Not social isolation, something more specific. The sense that your internal state has become too unstructured to be met by language at all. Reading interrupts that assumption. It demonstrates that language can still exist in proximity to what feels inarticulable, without needing to resolve it immediately. There is also an important limitation here that needs to be stated clearly. Bibliotherapy is not a substitute for clinical support. It is not a treatment model, it is not an intervention, it is a practice of attention, and attention, while not sufficient in all contexts, is not insignificant either. It changes the texture of time slightly. On low days, time often becomes heavy in a very particular way, not necessarily slow, just dense. Reading introduces a different density, one that is structured but not demanding. It allows time to be segmented into smaller units that are easier to inhabit. A paragraph, a page, a chapter break. Not as achievement markers, just as points of rest. There is a reason many people describe reading as one of the few activities that remains accessible even when everything else feels out of reach. It does not require you to become someone different in order to begin. You do not have to perform readiness, you just open the book. And if that is all that happens, that is still participation. There is a tendency in online discourse to overstate what reading can do emotionally, to turn it into either a cure or a metaphor. But its actual function is more modest, and in some ways more reliable because of that. It offers structure when internal structure feels reduced. It offers language when internal language feels limited. It offers presence without demand. That combination does not solve low mode, but it does make it slightly more inhabitable, which is often closer to what is needed than resolution.